Yo, welcome to Spectator Sporting. I'm Zach Roach along with my partner, Mr. Adi Wally. We got a big boxing show for y'all today. You know we talking boxing. We got Byron here with us. Man, let's get into it. Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach. But before I go any further, make sure y'all go on Spectator Sporting, subscribe to that page, leave comments. We appreciate all the good comments y'all give us, and we appreciate when you tell us we're wrong and when you disagree with us. Please keep at it. Gervonta Davis from Baltimore, Maryland, 30 years old, comes in 30-0, 28 by knockout. Last fight won by vicious knockout against Frank Martin, round 7, showing the power that he's shown almost every fight he's had. Going against, they say he's my cousin? Nah, I don't think so. He might be. Lamont Roach from Washington, D.C., 29 years old, 25-1-1, 10 by knockout. Last fight won by knockout against Fearless McCrory in the 4th round. McCrory was actually knocked down by Roach 3 times in the fight altogether. Many people believe this is a step down for Tank. But Lamont wants to prove everybody wrong and say he chose the right person. So, Adi, what's your thought on Tank Davis going into this fight?
Well, Lamont Roach has not fought at 135 pounds in over a decade. He's pretty much spent a vast majority of his career at the 130-pound division. And I just love this show called Mythbusters. And the myth-busting situation here is... I love it. They should do one boxing version, okay? Because the myth-busting situation here is Gervonta Davis had no other option but to fight Lamont Roach from a lower weight class. Okay, that's the myth-busting situation. And yes, I was disappointed when Lomachenko ducked Tank Davis. All right, I really wanted to see that fight. A lot of people wanted to see that fight. Bob Arum had me believing it was going to happen, but it didn't. And looks like the Shakur Stevenson versus Tank Davis fight is only going to happen in imagination land, which is very disappointing.
Too many imaginary fights right now. It's just way too many, but go ahead. Yeah, sorry. But still, yeah.
But still, there was some better options than fight Lamont Roach from a lower weight class. You got Jose Rayo Valenzuela. Okay. He was supposed to get knocked out by the 140-pound champion Pitbull Cruz. All right. And Pitbull Cruz was supposed to finally get that rematch, beat Rayo, get that rematch against Tank Davis. He was the only man to not get knocked down by Tank Davis. It was a really good fight. People really wanted to see that rematch, but Jose Valenzuela with the split decision, upset victory over Pitbull Cruz. So Jose was supposed to take Pitbull's spot and go after Tank Davis. And they was in talks, both camps was in talks, but Tank Davis camp wanted Rayo to go back down to the lightweight division, but Rayo Valenzuela was saying that his body matured too much. He's at 140 now.
Don't make sense.
And he's a champion at 140. Right, he's a champion at 140. Don't make sense. He doesn't want to go back down to 135. And also, it made sense for Tank to go to 140. He had already knocked out Mario Barrios at 140, so that's what Rayo was trying to make happen, but it didn't happen, and the fight didn't go on. And so now Rayo is fighting on the Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach undercard. He's going against Gary Russell, and so I'm looking forward to that fight. And then you have WBO's number 2 contender, the IBF number 4 contender, the 22-0 Raymond Danger Morataya. All right, he was available. He's a top 5 lightweight. That would have been a good matchup. He's 28 years old. He's ready to go into the fight. He doesn't need to be coddled anymore. And Tank Davis, he criticized Shakur Stevenson for not destroying Edwin De Los Santos. All right, so Tank Davis could have just fought De Los Santos and showed Shakur Stevenson how it's done. Show him how to knock the man out. Edwin De Los Santos is the number 4 WBA contender, and he's already defeated Rayo Valenzuela. All right, so this whole Tank having no other choice but to fight a man from a lower weight class, Lamont Roach, myth or fact, you be the judge.
Yeah, myths. Listen, Tank definitely, is going to receive, it's just what he did. And where he's at his career, when you step down, it's just going to be a bunch of criticism that comes with it. And with that being said, bye. Talk to me about Tank Davis as he's prepares for Lamont Roach. Is this a step down? Talk to me about this.
So an 8th grader got called out by 2 7th graders, Keyshawn and Shakur. And that 8th grader then decided, by some act of God, to get into the recess of the 6th grade class, and fight someone there. Tank Davis is not what you guys believe that he is. And I just want to, kind of put this out there, because I understand in the fandom that is this new culture of fan of boxing that, I am definitely committing the sin of all sins. But he is not a prize fighter. He's a WWE participant. He's Jake Paul's little brother. Tank Davis snatched this guy up because he is simply meat. And we don't have to continue to go down the line and look at, if you guys recall, a year ago, we called the 135-pound division probably the next great division in boxing. We kind of put it up there with 147, how it was back in the day, how the 147-pound division has just bailed boxing out for years and years and years. And we saw that at 135 with the wealth of talent and the age of the talent that's there. These are young guys. Tank is only 30 years old, and he wants to retire. And I'm not going to, for you Lamont Roach fans out there, I apologize in advance. But if Tank Davis chooses you for a fight, then you are nothing more than me. And this guy is disappointing, and it's not to speak on his God-given ability, because Tank is going for his 5th straight knockout, and he has the skills, but he just will not push himself in this game to be great. And I happened upon an interview from Mr. J Hill Network, and it was a great interview. You don't see a lot of interviews with Tank Davis that last an hour, because he is the man is not articulate, and it's very hard to hold an interview with him. So shout out to Mr. J Hill, who actually had this guy on for an hour and allowed him to be the hypocrite in his own words. And, I'm not going to spoil it for you. I definitely want you to go and check it out. But I think he kind of laid out the person that he is. And he's got into this game for the money. He only wants to fight for the money. And he's not interested in the accolades, although he feels comfortable being Mr. Twitter Fingers and, attacking all these top guys who have way more gold than him, have way more accolades than him, and they're younger at this point in their career. He loves attacking them, but he feels that he is so skilled that he doesn't even have to compete against these guys, which is the dumbest shit that I've ever heard in my life. Damn. If you feel that you're better than Devin Haney, and Devin Haney is available to fight you at 140, a weight that you've already knocked out a 6-footer, why the hell won't you fight Devin Haney? In Tank's own words, he doesn't want to fight him because Ryan Garcia already showed that he could dispatch him, and he fought Ryan Garcia when he was much more in shape, and therefore that lets him know that he can beat Devin Haney. And then on the flip side of that, he wants to fight Ryan Garcia again, a guy that he knocked out with a body shot. I am sick of talking about Tank Davis, because Tank Davis is I hate to say it, but you don't want to say he's a coward. You don't want to, call him a bitch like he does everybody else. But he seems very pussy. And I hate to say it, but he seems very pussy. And the thing is, you got monsters on your ass. You got monsters that want to get in the ring with you. And if you are in this for the money, Tank Davis, if you are in this for the money, these are more lucrative fucking fights. Shakur Stevenson is more money. Hey, Sean Davis might be one of the hottest guys in boxing. That's more money. I mean, you can go after belts. You can collect belts I don't understand this man, and I can't call him a bum because he's not a bum. I can't say that he's not skilled because he is skilled, but how can I continue to put him on a pedestal when he wants to test out his talents against sixth graders. Listen, Byron Powell has never boxed a day in his life. I know all of you have looked at me in my husky frame and have trashed me in the comments. But if you put me in a tournament against eighth graders, I guarantee you, you will talk about my accolades like I'm the next Ali himself. Right hand connecting at 80%. Great foot movement. Great head move. Great defense. If you fight lesser competition, you're going to look better. But the thing is, when you run into a bull, what's going to happen? Shout out to Earl Spence. When you run into a bull, what is going to happen? Do the fans deserve to pay $70 to watch you fight a guy who can't even fight at your weight? He's smaller. Is it worth it for the fans? And it's not. And so it's hard to continue to sit here, and we've talked about this fight for months. I was praying that this shit get taken off the shelf, but it's happening, and it's a piece of shit fight. And Gervonta Davis, as highly skilled as he is, he seems to be a piece of shit fighter.
Damn. That was heavy. That was heavy. That was a lot. Oh, that was a lot. Wait, listen, it's a crazy situation because I think the whole thing is like when Tank Davis wanted to fight Lomachenko, I think that's when he was at the top. And Lomachenko was actually ranked higher than him, right? Is that fair to say? Well, I was going to say, 1 and 2. Oh, it was like 1 and 2. But I always felt Lomachenko was the face of the division. He's the face. He was the face. Tank was ranked higher, though. He was ranked higher, but Lomachenko was right there, right behind. Right there. That probably was the best fight for him, even over Shakur Stevenson, Keyshawn, whoever you name. That was the prize fight. Yeah. And when he backed out, maybe Tank, I'm not taking it from because, Byron, you made some great points. You know what I'm saying? But when that fight didn't happen, it was like, I think he was like, damn, what do I do now? Is that fair? Could that possibly
Well, I would say this too. Now, on your point, now, that summer, that was June of last year, he knocked out Frank Martin, the Ghost.
Right.
And so everyone was talking about, okay, boom, Lomachenko, yeah. Bob Aaron was talking about Lomachenko. Everybody believed it was going to happen. And so, but then Lomachenko ended up backing out, and then the next month, July, Shakur Stevenson beat Artem Harutyunyan. So Shakur Stevenson beat him, okay. And then he was supposed to fight Williams Zepeda. Right. So Williams Zepeda was supposed to happen, but then Williams Zepeda ducked Shakur and didn't fight Shakur. So they was in limbo. So Tank and Shakur was in limbo, like, okay, maybe they'll fight, you know what I'm saying, in the fall or whatever. But then all of a sudden, here comes Shakur Stevenson about to fight Joe Cordina. Yep. But that fight fell through. That didn't go through because Shakur had to get the surgery. Yep. So,
listen, fights not happening is a thing in boxing. It happens. It's like a day off. It happens. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna want to fight someone, and it could be politics. It could be different promotional companies. Yep. It could be money, which I think a lot of this is money. It's because Tank Davis has himself on such a high pedestal that he wants to command a lion's share of the purse. And the truth is, when you're fighting someone who has star power, who has a bit of a buzz, you gotta fucking pay him. You gotta pay him to get in the ring with you. And the reason why he's gonna fight the Frank Roaches and the Lamont Roach, the Frank Martins. If we could combine that would have been like we took Frank Martin and Lamont Roach and spliced them, and that would have been a good fight. But the reason why he fights these tomato cans is because he can give them a minuscule part of the purse, and it's still the biggest payday they'll probably ever have, and he can take the lion's share of the purse. But who loses is the fans. We lose because you have this highly skilled fighter who's fighting someone that literally doesn't have the skill set to beat him.
Yeah, well, I want to say this now. Tank Davis, now, I'm very disappointed that he's not fighting Shakur or Keyshawn and this and that. He's talking about retirement and all this and that, not fighting Devin Haney. All that's very disappointing. But I will say, Pitbull Cruz, Leo Santa Cruz, Mario Barrios, the Ghost Frank Martin, he's a top 10 lightweight right now. Ryan Garcia, Ryan Garcia, he knocked him out. Mario Barrios is 6 foot tall. He beat him at 140. So these guys are not cupcakes. Nah. I don't look at these guys. These guys are top 5 guys, top 10 guys, and these guys are, some of these guys have become champions. You know
so what should we believe?
So, but He was definitely the favorite against those guys, but I'm not gonna say those guys were cupcakes. But it's something stopping him from fighting the elite.
He knocks out Barrios at 140, and then does a 15-minute interview about how he doesn't want to fight at 140 because he doesn't feel good, because he doesn't like the punching power that he receives, and that he's not himself. So what should we believe?
It doesn't make sense. Wait,
It doesn't.
That's
None of us make
My
sense.
point is to everybody who's gonna jump in this comment section and eviscerate me for saying that I don't know shit and I'm stupid and I don't know the sport of boxing. What the fuck makes sense about Tank Davis? You knock out somebody at 140, you run back to 135, and then you say that you can't go to 140 again. But if you go to 140, you got a Teofimo Lopez fight. You got a Devin Haney fight. You got a Ryan Garcia rematch. He's not coming back to 135. No. So the thing is, you're so good, but you don't want to push yourself. So it's like, okay, you're at 135. So then you gotta see Keyshawn Davis. You gotta see Shakur Stevenson. And the same Tank Davis that people will vouch for will then say, well, these guys haven't done enough. And since they haven't done enough, and I'm so highly skilled, and I got so much talent, I don't have to fight these guys. So what the fuck do we wait for? What are we looking for Tank Davis?
Wait. And then he said he doesn't want to fight Devin Haney because Ryan beat him. He know he'll beat Devin Haney. But don't you know you'll beat Lamont Roach?
Exactly. You know you will beat Lamont Roach.
So let's talk some. Okay, everything good points. When he's talking about retiring, right? It's a good possibility. Like I don't know this man. I don't know what's going in his head or what's going on. His heart just may not be in it no more.
True.
Maybe that's why he's retiring. Maybe he knows that, and maybe that's because anybody that's trying to be a champion, you know what you got to do.
Yeah.
You know what you got to do.
You got to fight champions.
You got to fight champions. So maybe if his heart is not in it where it's supposed to be. And if you are a boxer, if your heart is not in it completely, it's time to go. No matter how old you are. Now the talent level we can't question, but if he's talking about retirement, there's something that he's not completely driven right now to box. Is that fair?
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, you're right. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
No, you're right.
It's not. He's not. His head.
I can't say that because you giving us this bullshit fight. You driven by money, and if you driven by money, then you still should be fighting better competition because the money is in fighting top tier competition. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Because
you can't sit here. You sat there and I watched this interview for an hour. You know what I'm saying? Listening to you stammer and stutter over words. And you basically said that you got in this game for the money, and I feel that, you know, and that's why I'm not gonna knock you on an undisputed talk. That's why I'm not gonna knock you on facing every champion at 135. But the lucrative fights, you gotta fight dog.
It still don't make sense.
Fight people.
Him saying he fight for the money still don't make sense because he would make more money fighting Shakur than fighting Lamont Roach.
Absolutely.
Or even fighting Keyshawn Davis. So it's not making.
All right, okay. All right. Let's talk about Lamont Roach. Okay, he, believe it or not, whatever we think, he is a participant in this matchup, Byron. And listen, if he beats Tank, this would be the maybe one of the biggest upsets in boxing history.
Coming up from a lower division.
So what can Lamont Roach do to, you know what, because like you say, I always say we've been doing this show a while now, this boxing show, and we think something's gonna happen, and then next thing you know, you go out there trying to think you got an easy target, and then an easy target turns into the most difficult situation you've ever been put in.
Yeah.
So can Lamont Roach, how can he pull off the upset against Tank?
Like, what you guys might not know, when we do these shows, what I like to do is I like to watch the opponent's last few fights, and I'm talking about in their entirety. Like I give time of my, my life, working single dad. I take the time to watch so that I can sit here, and although it's my opinion, I can give you the best opinion that I could have. And as far as Lamont Roach winning this fight, like the only thing I can see is like Tank injuring himself doing a little hip dance that he do.
Right.
Food poisoning. Like, come on, man. Like, Lamont Roach is not in the same league as Gervonta Davis. As if the same as Frank effing Martin. When you guys were in here in the comment section, and I predicted that bullshit, and I didn't even want to watch it. I tell you guys that these guys are meat, they're tomato cans, you don't believe me, and then it literally plays out in front of you. This is not a knock to Lamont Roach, 5'7", 68-inch reach, 29 years old, but it's the body of work. You look at this guy in his last fight against the great Fergal McCory, and he's fighting on the ropes. This guy is pushing him in this fight. Yes, he was knocked down, but he's pushing you in this fight. He's landing shots in this fight, and it's just I don't see this guy getting in the ring and being able to be offensive and defensive minded so that he can put up a good fight. Like, literally the rounds that he wins in this fight will be rounds that Gervonta just gives away, because I don't see his jab doing anything in this fight. He's a great inside puncher, but do you want to fight Gervonta Davis on the inside? That's suicide. So it's just, I literally think whoever's in Gervonta Davis camp, they find this guy, they look at his tape, and they like, man, we can hit this dude real fucking easy. Let's get him in. And that's literally what I see in this guy. Even his best performances, I'm like, he's not on this guy's level. He's not on his level. And like Ani alluded to, there's a wealth of competition at 135. Unless you're fighting unless you're fighting somebody of that caliber, like somebody who's on a pound for pound list, there's no effing reason for you to look back when you're at 135. You should be looking at 140, or you should be looking at the talent in your division. That's it, that's all. And this is not a knock to Lamont Roach. Shout out Lamont Roach for being bad enough to be an opponent for him. He's gonna get the biggest payday of his career. But again, the people who lose are the fans. The guys who have to talk about this bullshit fight and have to hope that their friends get it, because I'm not buying that shit, so that we can actually watch it. Like, this is just a fight where I don't see that it's any type of equal footing. And that's all I can say. Lamont Roach might be good for the 130-pound division, but he's not good enough to fight the best 135-pounder in the world, allegedly.
So no chance given by Biden.
All right,
give me some hope for this fight. If you were selling this fight, what would you say Lamont Roach has to do?
Okay, well, even in defeats, Tank Davis opponents elevate their careers to a higher level. They gain more opportunities, and they get more big payday fights. Pitbull Cruz, Ryan Garcia, Mario Barrios, even Rolly Romero became a champion at 140 and defended his title against Pitbull Cruz. So these guys end up riding a rave after a Tank Davis fight. And so Lamont Roach, he is a top-notch fighter at the junior lightweight division.
Yeah.
He's a WBA champion. He's Ring Magazine's #4 contender, 27 fights, only 1 loss. Now, the Reaper, Lamont Roach, he won that WBA title by defeating Hector Luis Garcia, and he scored a knockdown in the 12th round of that fight with a nice counter left hook, and he won that fight by a split decision, though. And Hector Luis Garcia was knocked out by Tank Davis before in his career. He has 2 losses, 1 to Tank, 1 to Lamont Roach. And in his last fight, Lamont Roach going against Fearless McCrory, he did knock him down with a couple of left hooks in the early rounds, and he eventually got the 8th round TKO. Now, Lamont Roach, he sets those left hooks up with some nice 1-2s, nice jab, and he goes to the body. But the man has only 10 knockouts in 27 fights, not a lot of power coming up in weight. Coming up a weight class, you're not bringing power coming up in weight, which is a problem.
That's the one. Now, this is the one thing with Byron against. This is why I got to go back to Byron, because he's 100% correct. If you don't have the power to punch,
You have to make him humble.
Yeah, Tank Davis,
You have
no chance.
You have no chance.
You have no chance because he's just gonna keep coming. Them little punches gonna feel like little kids.
And it's the defense, and I know what you guys are gonna instantly say. Yeah. Well, why you want to fight Shakur then? Shakur ain't got no power. Shakur is one of the best defensive fighters in effing boxing. You stand, you freaking moron. It's a better fight. That's why I want it to happen. Right. It's a better fight. I'm sorry. Emotion.
All right. Who's gonna win this fight? Upset City.
Man, the odds got to be crazy for a Roach victory.
I'm gonna put some money on him just because it's going $20 will probably give you 20 grand.
The Reaver, Lamont Roach. He has a very solid jab, good defense, good head movement, but his footwork is going to have to be on point. He's going to have to be nearly perfect if he wants to avoid joining the Tank Davis KO mixtape. And he won't. He won't. He will get knocked out in the 10th round.
10? You got him going 10?
Yeah, I got him going 10.
Now you should put some money on that. You should put some money on that.
Got him lasting longer than 9 rounds. Yeah.
You should put some money on that.
I think he's going to last longer than Frank Martin. Frank Martin did 8. I think Lamont Roach.
And Frank was scared.
You know, but
Frank actually had a little skill though.
Frank is.
He ain't that bad.
I don't think he's that bad, bro.
He wasn't that bad. He wasn't that bad.
Ain't shit.
But you know what? I would rather see Lamont Roach going against doing a unification fight at the junior lightweight division against Emmanuel Navarrete.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or against Oshaki Foster. Those would be better matchups. And Tank Davis. I'd rather see him against Keyshawn Shakur, stuff like that. But he doesn't want to fight him.
10th round knockout.
10th round knockout, Byron. Ali said 10th round. He say Lamont Roach, my cousin, is gonna last 10 rounds. Hey, shout out Lamont Roach. How far?
If Tank Davis don't knock this dude out in 5 rounds, Tank Davis ain't shit. This should be a 5th round knockout, if that. It's just not a fight that should be competitive. And you know, if you can sit in an interview and proclaim that you just have way more skill than everybody that you see on television, you have way more skill than everybody at 135, but you're fighting a 130-pound fighter, then he shouldn't go 5 rounds. And if he does go over 5 rounds, then they should give the win to Lamont Roach. Because that's how much of a mismatch this effing is. I can't sell you this effing fight. I can't tell you that it's going to be competitive. I can't tell you that it's going to be worth your money. This is a bullshit fight. Another bullshit opponent brought to you by Tank Davis. 5th round KO.
Listen, one day you guys I've learned a lot about boxing from you, Tion, Julio, you as well. And one thing I've learned about doing this show is never underestimate anybody. We've had some shows where we thought it was going to go one way, and it went the complete opposite.
Not this one.
Yeah. So with that being said, I got Tank in the 7th round knockout.
Yeah, you better.
So the only reason I say 7th because Tank, it's his MO. He starts slow as the fight builds.
Why would this fight go over 5 rounds? He
gotta make it last. He's gotta sell the fight.
This guy's best offense is fighting on the inside.
Yeah.
He literally fights off the back foot. So that means you're gonna fight Tank Davis pressing you for 5 or 10 rounds. Tank Davis pressing you for 10 rounds.
He did knock out Ray Garcia in the 7th round. He knocked out Frank Martin in the 8th round. He don't really knock people out like in the first 3 years.
It's about the 6th, 7th round. Is when he start warming up.
I don't think he get too many.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Yeah. I think he gonna play around with Lamont.
I'm already not hounding you, little Tank. If you listening, you better knock this fool out in the 5th round. You better not. You better at least win me a little money on this.
Well, we'll see what's gonna happen. Hopefully. Once Tank Davis does knock us out, maybe he's setting us up for a surprise.
No, retire, please.
Maybe he's setting us up for one last hurrah. Maybe it's against Shakur Stevenson or something. Or maybe. We shall see. You've been watching Spectator Sporting. I'm Zach Roach, along with my partner, Mr. Adi Wally. Shout out to Byron.
I'm sorry for cursing.
Yes.